So why do you prepare yourself for the start of your season, and then once the season starts, you no longer lifting again? You basically training and doing everything you got to do to get into your best shape for the beginning of the season. But then as the season go on, you're not lifting, you're not working out no more. So now you digressing. All right. By the end of the season, you're not at your top shape. I never understood that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you this in-season workout. It's a lower body workout that all my clients do. All right, it helps you maintain or even progress throughout the season so that at the end of the season, when it matters, when you win the playoffs and when you get to that championship level, you at your top shape and you can perform at your best while everybody else is digressing because they not working out. All right, so like I said, it's a lower body workout. So what I started off with is squats. Anytime I do any core lift during the season, it's only 3x3. We don't go a lot of reps because obviously during the season, you got to make sure that your legs is able to run or perform whatever your sport is, right? So you don't want to put too much mileage on your legs if you're doing too many reps. All right, so it's not high repetition. It's more heavyweight, low repetition to be able to, get stronger, but still make sure that we're not doing too much to your legs. So like I said, we started off with squats, 3x3 at 80%. I don't even squat no more, but I did this for y'all. I don't squat due to injury, but I did this for y'all so y'all can see the workout. All right, so I started off with squat. Make sure when you squat, your feet is at shoulder width. All right, you don't want to be too wide and you don't want to be too close. All right, make sure our depth is very low. All right, you want to get that butt parallel to your knee. A lot of times, training and coming up, or some coaches might tell you, you don't want your knees to go past your toes. Realistically, your knees can go past your toes. All right, that's the only way you're gonna have that mobility. But make sure your knees is not going inside of your foot. Make sure your knees is going outside of your foot so you have that proper mobility to go all the way down. So like I said, it's 3x3. Make sure you work up to that. Don't just hop on and put your 80% weight on. All right, I always start off with the bar. All right, I don't care how much I'm lifting. I always start off with the bar to warm myself up. Then I go to a plate, then I add a plate, and then so on. All right, make sure you warm up properly to get to that 80%. Don't just jump up to 80% and suffer some type of injury. So after the squat, we go to leg press. All right, any auxiliary lift, I do only 3 sets of 8. Again, same model with the core lift. We don't want high repetition. We don't want too much. All right, but that 8 should be work. All right, don't just do 8 reps and it's easy to get to. You should start to feel it at about 5-6 reps. If you're not feeling it there, then the weight is too light. All right, so that's gonna help you judge on how much weight you should put on for any type of auxiliary lift when you're doing that 3x8. All right, so like I said, we're doing leg press, got 3x8. Again, work yourself up to that 3x8. Work yourself up to that weight that you're gonna do for 8 reps. Don't just jump up to it, all right? Again, same model with the squats, feet shoulder width apart. You don't wanna be too close. You don't wanna be too wide. I went with a high foot placement on this so that I could hit my hamstrings with that. So a little tip for when you're doing the leg press, if you got your feet high up on the platform, you're gonna hit your hamstrings. If you got your feet low up on the platform for the leg press, you're gonna hit your quads. All right, so that's a little tip for you. It's for you to decide which muscle you wanna hit that day. All right, again, make sure that you actually working. Don't just do 8 reps and let it be light and then you just get to the next movement. You're not gonna get better if you just do it to do it. You got to do it to get better. You got to do it to make sure at the end of the season, you're stronger, not weaker, all right? So after the leg press, we go to the hip thrust. Some of my clients like to call it the booty blaster. To be real with you, the bigger your butt is, the more explosive you're gonna be. So if you want to dunk, you want to run fast, you want to hit hard, hey, make sure you hit those hip thrusts. All right, my gym got this hip thrust machine that I love to use, but if you don't have this type of machine, you can use a barbell, place it on your hip, make sure you're thrusting up with that. But if you don't like to use the barbell, you can use dumbbells, all right? Some people like to go with 1. I like to go with 2 dumbbells and place them on each side of my hip, all right? Make sure when you're thrusting up, you want to keep your feet on the ground, your heels on the ground. Don't thrust up on your toes. Push through your heels to get your hip up. And then when you squeezing your hip up, squeeze your glutes at the top. All right, this is a glute movement. You want to strengthen up your glute. So we're not just throwing the weight up. We got to make sure that we activating the muscle that we want to hit. So you got to push through your heels and squeeze your glutes at the top. All right, that's the only way you're going to get better. Again, like I said, for the leg press, don't just do it to do it. Don't just do it with light weight. Make sure you start to feel the weight at 5-6 reps. It's got to be work. All right, if you're not feeling it, you're not getting better. All right, so after the hip thrust, we go to leg curls. Now with leg curls, you can do this however you want. Sometimes I like to go with a single leg. Sometimes I like to go with double leg. Today I went with double leg, and make sure that you want to hit that hamstring. So for hitting that hamstring, you want to push your hip into the bench. Sometimes if the weight is a little bit too heavy, you lift your butt up to get the weight up. All right, as you see me, I done here a couple times when that weight was getting a little bit too heavy for me. But the key is pushing your hip down. When you notice your butt is coming up, push your hip down into the bench. That's going to activate your hamstrings a little bit more so that you can hit it and strengthen that hamstring up. You want to be explosive, you want to be faster. The hamstrings is a vital muscle for you to be able to perform, especially at the end of the season when all that wear and tear is coming from you running or planting or doing whatever you're doing in your sport. So after the leg curls, we go to leg extensions. Your quads is another important piece for you to perform well. So we got to make sure that we hitting our quads till we perform at the end of the season. All the wear and tear that you're doing with your muscles, make sure those quads are strengthened up. All right, that's those hip flexors that's going to get your knees up for you to drive your feet and be explosive and be fast. So with leg extensions, just like the leg curls, how we pushed our hip into the bench, you want to push your butt, your glute into the bench to lift up that leg, all right, to extend that leg out. That's going to activate your quads a little bit more. All right, make sure when you're doing it, because you're lifting that weight up, you're not picking your butt off the bench. Most extensions got these bars on the side of the extension so you can grab the bars to pull yourself down. All right, make sure that butt is into the bench for you to extend your leg out. All right, you're gonna activate your quad like that. Again, like I said, all auxiliaries is only 3x8. Make sure you feeling the weight at 5 to 6 reps. I can't stress that enough. If you're doing it and it's too light, you get to 8 and you just did it and you don't really feel nothing, then you didn't get better. Remember, we're doing this to get better. All right, we're not just doing it to do it. We're not doing it just to pass time. We got to do it to get stronger and make sure that at the end of the season, we're able to perform well. All right, so after the leg extensions, we end off with calf raises. All right, make sure that his calves is strong enough for us to explode. Again, we got to be fast. We athletes. All right, the key to being an athlete is being fast and being explosive. So those calves are very important. The gym I'm at don't have a really good calf raise, so I don't really do the calf raise machine that they have here. All right, I just get on the box, use any type of weight. You can use dumbbells. I use a plate for this, and I just do calf raises on the box. Key to this is making sure that your heel is coming below the box, and then you lifting up. All right, you want full mobility in your ankle. All right, full mobility in that ankle is going to stretch the calf, and then you activate the calf to raise it up. All right, so you could use either dumbbells, you could use either a plate, you could use a barbell, place it on your back, or if your gym has a nice calf raise machine that you like, do that. So with this box calf raise workout, I do 3x20. All right, make sure you feel it again. If you're not feeling it, you're not doing it enough. All right, and there you have it. The in-season lower body workout I make all my clients do. Very simple, very straight to the point. Remember, we working to get better. We want to make sure that we at our best at the end of the season. All right, I hope this helped you. Remember, you better than they say. See you next time. Let's get it.